Hello and welcome to a special crossover event. This is both a May Queens podcast and a Heather Loves Horror podcast special event. And that is because we have a third guest joining us today. Heather, would you please explain who we got in our studio, our Zoom studio?
Yes, we have Ryan Kruger of Fried Berry, and we're really excited to have you on today. So thank you for joining us.
Such a pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Anytime.
Ryan, okay. Fried Berry, for those listening who may not already know this, Fried Berry is now on Shudder. It's a Shudder exclusive. And for those of us like Heather and I, who love the Joe Bob, The Last Drive-In show, they actually debuted Fried Berry on their program a couple weeks ago. So it's absolutely an honor to have you as our very first guest on the May Queens podcast. Yay!
Thank you.
I would love to know, what was the inspiration behind this story? I know, people have talked about the fact that you have like 80 plus references to other movies, like 80s movies especially, but where does this whole story of the alien abduction come from?
That's a hard question to answer. I think just as a filmmaker, when you get to make your first film, it has to be the right film, and you shouldn't just jump at anything. And I think over the years, I've come close to making films, feature film, and then it doesn't happen and it like fades away. And I think where I was, in my life and what I was going through at the time, which I went through a bit of a dark time and depression and all that stuff. But I think Fried Berry was like born out of like total frustration of where I was at the time and where I was in my career and what I wanted to do. And I think originally Fried Berry was a 3-minute short experimental, and there was never ever a plan to make it into a feature. It was a standalone 3-minute, almost like a drug PSA, like don't do fucking drugs, basically. And then that did really well at festivals and stuff like that. So that may have planted as kind of a seed in my head, but at the bottom of this depression hole, I was like, what is the number one thing that I've always wanted to do? And it was to make a film. And the scripts that I had at the time, I looked at, and I could have chose any one of them, and I could have did a good job with any of those films. But again, it comes back to that, what is the right one to do, and what feels right, and where I wanted to do something really creative and stand out. When I looked at the other scripts, I was like, cool, I can do these well, and I think I can pull it off really well. But what is different about those scripts? And if I made one of those films, maybe it would have got somewhere, maybe it would have just got lost in that B movie market. But at the same time, when I just got the idea for Fried Berry, and it just came to me, and I knew straight away, this is the one to do. This is the idea, because it's different. I haven't seen this film before, and I get to be really, really creative with it. And that's what excited me to do it. And I knew straight away, this is the one to do.
Nice. It's nice when you get to be incredibly inspired like that. Like you hear about Stephen King writing a story after getting hit by a car, and he writes Kingdom Hospital, which then becomes a series, which totally should have not been canceled early on, but I do have it all on DVD. And so like when you get that spark of creation, that's just the fact that you get to follow through on that is amazing.
Yeah.
Now,
yeah.
I read that this was just one of a 5-year plan of shorts. Well, the Fried Berry short that like the third one or something.
Yeah. So at that time where I was, obviously before I made the feature, I was like, I wanted to make a bunch of 4.5-year project making a bunch of experimental films. And Fried Berry, the short, was actually the first. And I'm still busy making them, making the rest of them now. They're in post. And yeah, it just happened to be that that was the first one, and it did well at the festivals. And yeah, and then as I said, when I got that idea, I just decided, I'm gonna make this one, which I never ever would have thought that this would have been my first film, but it turned out to be the right one. But as you said before, when there's sometimes these like dark ideas or great ideas that are born out of some dark times in your life, and that was totally the case for this. During those experimental films and just before, I had something wrong with my kidney. I had an operation. I got sepsis. I nearly died. My cat got cancer. Broke up with my girlfriend. I went into depression, and it was just like, it was all too much, all at the same time. And as I said, in that dark hole at the time, I was just like, what's the number one thing I've always wanted to do? And I knew that this was like my medicine to get me out of this shit that I was in. So in a weird way, I'm very grateful that I went through that, even though it was like the worst time of my life and it was fucking horrible. But at the same time, if I didn't go through that, I definitely wouldn't have made this film. I know that. I definitely wouldn't have made this film. So it took some fucking horrible shit to happen for me to actually do it,
Yeah.
Excellent film.
It's definitely an interesting film for sure.
Yeah, it's definitely not for everybody, put it that way.
I think the thing is that people come to it hearing alien abduction and they automatically think like super horror or something. I was laughing throughout the entire movie, and it was like, I can't, like, I'm a person who types woo a lot in text messages and on posts, and now I can't text that without thinking about Fried Barry and his sex noise.
That's cool.
It's fantastic. I like wheezed laughed. I couldn't breathe the first time I saw that moment.
But that, I think that's the thing with Fried Barry. It's a genre mashup where I wouldn't call it a horror film, and I wouldn't call it a comedy, and I wouldn't call it a sci-fi. It has a bit of sci-fi, it has a bit of those horror elements in it, and there's a shitload of comedy and like dark humor, but it's also got a lot of heart in it as well.
Oh yeah, I've heard you compare it to E.T. with the family love and the letting go. And I don't want to spoil your movie because we do a lot of spoilers on our podcast, usually because we're breaking down movies, but yours is still pretty fresh. And I don't want to say anything about the ending that you wouldn't want out there until people watch it. But it does have a very emotional ending. And the female characters are, for the short amount of time you see them, are very well developed for how they fit into Barry's existence.
Yeah. I mean, his wife, she's the heart of the movie. She's, you know what I mean? She without her it wouldn't work, and that's why, as the human Barry, he's just this asshole and he's just this bastard, and then you watch this movie and you go like, how are we gonna like this guy? And then when he gets abducted and he's this alien, he's a nicer guy. He's such a nice a friendlier, nicer person. And that's why his wife's like, oh, look, he's really trying. He's really trying to make this thing work. And meanwhile, he's an alien. And, and as it goes on, I think with the mimicking, he's just like this child. He's like this sponge that's learning and mimicking stuff as it goes along.
It's kind of a commentary on humanity too, like not just the heart part, but we prefer an alien being to our own kind of thing, unless they're children-like, they're childlike.
Yeah, no, exactly. And that's the thing with, there's a lot of depth that goes into Fried Barry. And like you said, now it's, it's the darker side of humanity, and it's and shows how crazy society is. And all these characters are the underbelly of like Cape Town, and it's like all these like rough characters, but it doesn't mean they're necessarily bad people or anything like that. It's just these are the characters that we're focusing on. And we really get to see the darker side of life, and it just shows you that it's not the alien that's crazy, it's us as society, and all the crazy fucked up things that we do as humans. And there is those people out there, there is those good characters, there is those bad characters, and that's life. And no matter where you are in the world, we have these strange or dodgy characters or dodgy areas that you wouldn't walk down the road at 4 a.m.
Definitely got some of those over here for sure. Now, I wanted to talk about, I had one question that came up about the references within the movie, because I know you're a big 80s movies fan, and it's been stated that there are over 80. There was one I just wanted to confirm from a personal standpoint. The guy with the black brimmed hat that shows up, who may or may not be one of the aliens on Earth. Is that a reference to Poltergeist too?
A few people have said that. I think one or two people have said that, but it actually wasn't. I love that character. I think Gary looks more like that character than the guy with the hat. But yeah, it wasn't a direct reference to that at all. I mean, a lot of those scenes with him is, especially the scene in the cardboard box, it's very David Lynchy, with that whole like weird feel, and the black and white scene that we were doing in the cardboard box, and him singing. But yeah, it's interesting. But I do love Poltergeist. Poltergeist is great.
I've been watching a lot of In Search of Darkness, the 80s horror documentary.
I haven't seen it yet. I'd dig to check it out still.
Parts 1 and 2 now available on Shudder. So I've
cool.
watched them several times, and they're really good. So Poltergeist is in my mind because of those right now. Speaking of Shudder, we're talking about how it's not technically a horror film. There are horror elements, obviously, with the pregnancy scene. You've got Alien in there as a great reference, or Species too is in there. How do you hook up with Shudder? I think, as there's so many people who might be listening or watching who they're also future filmmakers. They want to know, like, how do you get connected to a streaming service like this?
Yeah, well, it's one of those things. It's like there's so many different levels of filmmaking, and actually making your film, and then actually selling your film, and so on. So it's one of those things where, obviously when we started making the film, there's no deals in place or anything like that. It's like, okay, we're going to make this film, we're going to send it to festivals, and at those festivals, you get sales agents and distributors, and you make connections with that. I had a friend that hooked me up with a sales agent, and then as a sales agent's job, they take your movie and they start fishing it out to people, so distributors can check. And Shudder got hold of it, and they just loved it, and they were like, cool, we definitely want this film, and it just grew from there, and which is amazing, because it's definitely I think Fried Barry has a great home with Shudder. It definitely fits with Shudder and that market. And at the same time, when I made the movie, I'm making it for, like, that's why I said it's not straight horror, but it has all those elements, and that audience will appreciate this movie. So like the 10, 11-year-old me back in the day, if I saw Fried Barry, I would have loved it. There's the type of films that I used to watch, where with all the weird films and horror and stuff like that. And that's why, again, with loving 80s cinema, there's so many little Easter eggs, within the movie that plays homage to all these, great 80 films that I loved, and then spicing it up and just making it, my own, and making it different. Like my three main references for Fried Barry was John Carpenter's Starman, and a 90s film, early 90s movie called Bad Boy Bubby, and then obviously E.T. from the 80s. And yeah, it was just like a mashup between those three, and then changed all certain elements and made it my own and made it different. And that's why I said what really interested me about this film is that we've seen alien abduction movies before and stuff like that, but we've never seen like like a junkie get abducted, and that's the funny side to it, because it's just like this film could have went like a completely different way. I mean, if the aliens abducted like a 9 to 5, it would have been a different movie. But because it's a junkie, then he's already an addict. He already needs his fix, as he goes along and going through withdrawals. And then the area and the people that he meets, there's just no human alive could take that much drugs in that amount of time and still be standing at the end of it. So it was, and that was the other funny thing, that his body couldn't take that much, and he was like, yeah, it's like I gotta fucking go home now. it's a bit too much. But it's one of those things where I always laugh, because it would be like, if there was a star to the movie that we didn't see, it would be the aliens going, all right, so we're going to send you down to Earth. We're going to get your body. And yeah, so you're just going to be this alien tourist, just get as much information, as possible. And yeah, and then let's see what you come back with. And then the end would be, yeah, they just, all humans, they just do a shitload of drugs. They just have sex constantly. And that's what they do. And they'll be like, oh, okay, interesting. Okay, yeah, cool. So
I smell a prequel.
So it was just a different take. Yeah.
I smell a prequel in our midst.
See, I think if I was gonna shoot a number 2, a lot of people have asked us for a number 2. If I did, I've got some great ideas for a number 2, but if I did, it would be called Deep Fried Barry. It would have to be called Deep Fried Barry.
Nice.
That's great.
Oh, I love that. Oh man. Okay, without spoiling anything, would the main character follow somebody named Gene? That's all I'm gonna say, without spoiling who Gene is.
Yeah. So it would definitely have Eugene, and there'll be it would definitely he would definitely be in it, without a doubt.
Definitely one of my favorite surprise characters in that movie. Oh, quite a trip. You were talking about the original version of Fried Barry being a 3-minute short, and I've seen your YouTube channel over the last, like, just doing research for this interview. I know that it's out there. A Ryan Kruger thing is what you go by on YouTube, and so everybody check it out. There's a lot on there. Do any of the shorts that you submit to festivals, do they ever make it on there? Would we be able to find, I didn't see this, but the original Fried Barry short, would that ever make it onto your YouTube channel?
So the thing is, with my YouTube channel, there's a lot of stuff that's not actually on the YouTube channel, and that's because they're like the amount of music videos and stuff that I've done in the past, they're all uploaded to the band's channel and stuff like that. So I think the best way to check out my work is to go on to ryankruger.tv, and majority of like my music videos and shorts and commercials and stuff is all on there. So yeah, ryankruger.tv.
Okay, great. I will definitely check that out, and we'll definitely promote that so that other people can check it out as well.
Thanks so much.
I think it's fun to see people's origins, especially when they start making their big breaks, like Fried Barry. You get to see what they used to do. Our first episode as the May Queens podcast was examining Ari Aster's original shorts that were on his YouTube channel. Somebody had posted them all there, or at least we think most of them. And it's just funny where you can see like where you get your inspiration. What are your key signatures that you might not even know unless you watch them all are in each of your movies?
Yeah, I always find that interesting, because there's been many people over the years that'll go, oh, you can tell this is, you did this music video. And for me, I have my style and stuff, what I do, but then sometimes it's almost like you don't even know it, because I just do what I just do what I do, and I have the style that I've always done, whatever that is. But then people know, oh yeah, I can see you, Ryan, you definitely did this. So that's always interesting, when I hear that. But the thing is, with these experimentals and with Fried Barry, these are the first projects for me that I probably love the most, not because it's my recent stuff. It's also because, coming from a music video background, the artist always let me do whatever I wanted for the music videos, which is great. And so I had a lot of control. But at the same time, I was also kind of boxed in, because it's like, it needs to go on TV. I can't go too crazy. It can't be too violent. It can't be too this, it can't be too that. And it also has to suit the music that I'm doing the visuals for. So, and that's why I wanted to do the experimentals and Fried Barry, and to do exactly what I wanted to do and not have to worry about anybody saying anything. So it's just like, when you make a movie, yes, you make it for an audience, but you also make it for yourself. So I think it's a bit of both, where I'm like, I would love to see this movie. I haven't seen this movie. And I know, my friends and the people that I grew up with, that the films that we watched, we would love this. And to also have all those like Easter eggs in that, all these films that you remember and love, whether it just touches on it slightly or something, that it's I really wanted to make like a cult style movie and have all those like elements in it. And it is very much that fine line to get the tone right, to do exactly what I made and what I wanted to make.
Amazing. Speaking of your music video background, I mean, some of the bands I've seen you work with are amazing. Like Slipknot, I was supposed to see them until quarantine happened, so totally jealous. And Black Flag, Bowling for Soup, The Misfits. It's an insane. But how do you go from working with musicians to making your own movies?
So I started out making shit music videos first, like anybody else. I started making all these like really like where I just filmed everything myself and did basically like a one-man show. And then through there, when I filmed with all these, so I did a thing called GTV, which was where I worked with all these bands. So I didn't do music videos for those bands. I did the program that I was making. It was like me and my other friend, and we filmed with we filmed with what's his name now? I can't remember his name. So we filmed with all these artists, but it was like artists like you've never seen them before. Like it was backstage, or it was the tour bus, and it was like the hotels, and it was just like basically it was like a 3-year project. It was basically like partying with bands on the weekends or during the week, and like how you've never seen them before. And it went from metal bands to like pop punk bands, and there was a mixture of like even it was like Misfits and Des from Black Flag, and went from that to like Bowling for Soup and Simple Plan and all these other bands. But filming with all those guys was more like documentary, reality, jackass sort of filming wise. And then from there, that's when I started concentrating more with music videos, and I was back and forth from the UK and to South Africa. And I'd probably say the past 13 years of doing music videos for like South African bands, and really concentrating on my concentrating on directing and making those music videos, and really getting a good crew together so I don't have to fucking do everything. And because as soon as you start doing everything, it like there's lots of weak points within somebody's work. So that's why get a DOP that knows what he's doing, get a good editor to work with, and whether it's wardrobe or makeup or all these different things. And that's why when I came to South Africa in 2008 was really honing in on to get a bigger, better crew, so I could shoot more professional stuff. And that's when everything started happening in my career. But now, from being known in South Africa for a music video director, and then now jumping to this feature film and doing a year festival run around the world has been amazing, because now I've picked up all these fans, whether it's from Brazil or Mexico or Spain, and it's just been it's been insane. And the amount of people that's reached out has been awesome. And yeah, it's still it still hasn't hit me yet. So it's still it's still development as I'm going along. But yeah, it's been amazing. Like the feedback and everything has been awesome. Like, and to get the film on Shudder and to have all those fans and to get on the Bob Briggs Last Drive-In, I mean, that also pumped it up like a hell of a lot more as well. So me and my team are very, very grateful and happy that, that we had that opportunity to be there. I mean, when it released on the Friday on the Last Drive-In, I mean, on Twitter, it was the third most trended thing in America on that Friday, which was like insane. Wow. So yeah, it's crazy, how something like that can happen. And then, getting, Empire Film Magazine, to review it, which has always been like a dream since I was a kid, and to get in the Guardian and then getting certified fresh on Rotten Tomatoes. So yeah, it's just been a crazy, like I said, it still really hasn't hit me yet. So, but yeah, it's one of those things. I guess I just keep doing what I always do, and now it's, Fried Barry is still going to be hitting other territories around the world, so it's still growing. It's still got a lot of waves still to come. Yeah, I mean, it's only been out for what, 2-3 weeks, so it's still growing, and more people are still keep reaching out. I think it's one of those films that somebody watches and go, oh my god, like, you gotta fucking check this film out, and then somebody watches it and it just goes on like a domino effect through that.
Yeah. Do you see yourself, I know you said you found a good crew in South Africa. Do you see yourself staying there and making more films there, or do you see yourself traveling more? What's the future?
Yeah, well, that's the thing. It's just like, I'll always go, where work takes me, and I'd love to shoot a movie in the States and stuff like that. But yeah, it all depends on what the project is, and it all depends what it is. I mean, the cool thing about South Africa is that, like, don't get me wrong, I'd love to go shoot a film in the States, but in South Africa, we get a lot of international movies that get shot here because we have so many different locations in Cape Town that look like this, that looks like Mexico, that looks like Spain or Italy or wherever. So, and it's a lot cheaper sometimes to shoot here than over there. So the amount of movies that sometimes you see in the States, sometimes it's not even shot in the States and it's shot here. It's like Cape Town's the biggest place in the world for commercials. So like when I go back to England and I'm at my mom's house and I'm sitting down and I'm watching TV, because I never watch TV, but like when I'm at my mom's place, I'll sit there and watch TV, and then like 95% of the commercials that come on TV, it's all shot in Cape Town. So it's ridiculous how many things that actually get shot here.
Okay. Yeah, I saw on your YouTube page there was a Doritos commercial. So I saw a Doritos commercial on your YouTube channel. Is that something that actually got to air, or is that just something you created?
No, it was a part of that. What was it? It was a part of that Super Bowl competition. So it was like all these people that you could shoot a commercial and send it to them, and then you can win and all that crap. I didn't win. I didn't get it.
I thought it was.
I got Fried Barry, but I didn't get the Super Bowl commercial.
Well, I thought it was great. I'm not going to spoil it. Let's just say there's a fire and there's a bunch of Doritos, and I will let you watch it and take it from there. But I thought it was pretty good. And I want to get into future projects, but before I do, I want to make sure I'm not stepping over Heather. So Heather, I'm going to let you take over for however long you want and ask any questions you got.
We covered a lot of it. I was going to ask if you composed your own music for the film, which I figured was probably a big possibility, but.
So I've worked with, the guy that scored the movie is a guy called Hazer. So he's like a local DJ and in South Africa, but he also does, he scores and does a lot of like sound design. And over the years, starting with the experimentals, I started working with Hazer, and Hazer is the first person that I know my visuals and his sound can go like hand in hand. And I really found it's such a big part of my work, especially with Fried Barry, and the experimentals. It literally goes hand in hand. And as soon as I was going to make Fried Barry, I knew straight away that Hazer has to do the score. And he, we had a few meetings, about what Fried Barry's about, and the world that this guy lives in, and then he just ran with it. And we spoke about a few of these scenes of like, this must be the tone, and this and this and this, and he knows what I like, he knows what I don't like. So he was just amazing, and he did such a brilliant job. But he also did not only the music, he did a lot of the sound design. So when it came to like the sound design in the spaceship at the beginning, where he goes up into the ship and then he gets experimented on. So all that, and it's such a even that scene is such a big part of like my style and what I love to do. And it was like I wanted that such a certain way. And Hazer just like did such an amazing job. And I think independent filmmakers, they don't always realize how important it is to get somebody to score your music, to score your film, because it's some people can get like royalty free music, or they can get a band and maybe do a track here and a track there and have all these different types of music. But I think when you score a film, especially a film like Fried Barry, it's such a big part of the movie. And I think that if you take this music out of Fried Barry, it wouldn't be the same movie. It wouldn't be the same feel or anything. And it's definitely such a big element to the movie. So I'm so grateful that Hazer wanted to do this movie. And he was like, I'm a fan of Hazer. Like he's so good at the music that he does and everything that it's one of those things where I don't really want to work with anybody else for music, because I'm like, as I said, his sound and my visuals like match like so well.
Yeah, that's why I thought maybe it was your own, because it went together so well. It was a really great score. What was it like whenever you found out they were going to put your movie on Joe Bob?
Yeah, it was crazy. So the thing is, like in South Africa, we don't get Shudder. So I knew about Joe Bob and the Last Drive-In and all that. I knew about it, and and he's been going for so long, years before, critiquing movies and stuff like that. So because we don't have Shudder in South Africa, and it's like you could mention, I mean, some people do know, like one of my friends actually knew about it, which I was surprised. But there's a lot of stuff in South Africa that we don't get, and you just don't hear about unless you go digging. But yeah, when the night came of the premiere with Joe Bob, like it was such an amazing experience. I mean, because of the time difference as well. So leading up to Fried Barry about to be released, the press was just getting more and more hectic as it was going along. It was just getting more and more press. And then when it came to the 7th, like every hour it was just getting more crazy and crazy. And then it got to like 4 a.m, and I was like, oh, I can't keep up with this. I'm gonna go to bed. So when I was just about to go to bed at like 4 a.m, that's when the Joe Bob show started. And then it went even more crazy. And I was like, shit, I can't go to bed now. I'm gonna have to stay up. And I was like on Twitter, talking to all the people watching and stuff like that. And it ended up staying up till like 10 a.m. So, and I was like 10 a.m. I was like, oh, okay. I like by the time it was finished and I spoke to people afterwards, I was just like, okay, I'm gonna need to go to sleep now. And because like I said, at 4 a.m, I was literally just about to climb into bed, and then that happened. So it was like I went to bed for like 2 hours at like 10 a.m, and then I got back up again to try and like follow up on all the tweets and everything. And it was just, it just went crazy. And I think that really showed me how big it was and how much it actually mattered and made a difference being on that show. And I think it did the film so much justice. And and people just seemed to have like a fun time watching it. And it was nuts.
I've been waiting to see it since you worked with Guts podcast on the episode. And I just kept like, I keep looking for it, and then all of a sudden I hear that it's well, we were watching Joe Bob, and I'm like, whoa. I was like, well, now I can finally watch it. But it was like, I don't know. Oh, it was very exciting.
Yeah, even the that's the thing. Like, even with the marketing of this film, I mean, you know, we had a year run of you know, at film festivals, so it was also like you know, promoting the trailer and promoting, you know, all this crazy marketing that you know, that I've done on social media, and it was like pushing it out like a year prior, if not more. You know, we were even doing marketing before we finished the movie. While we were shooting the movie, we were doing like crazy marketing, just getting that Barry character out there. So, I mean, there was so many people on social media going, "Oh shit, I've seen stuff, you know, that I put out, or they saw the trailer so long ago." And you know, and there's people like yourself that have been like, "Oh, I've been waiting to watch this film now for fucking ages," and then randomly it popped up, you know, on Shudder and at the Joe Bob drive-in. So yeah, it's funny how it all turned out. And then I obviously knew about it for a while, but I couldn't also say anything. So it was just that, you know, just waiting to hit. And I think that was the other thing. It's like, you know, when you're excited for something, and then it just takes ages to actually get to that day. You know, and it's like, you know, if you're waiting for something to come out, or it's your birthday or Christmas, and you're just like waiting for it to come to that day, and it just feels like it's never going to get there. And then it was one of those where it was like, it's only like 2 months time. And then it was, you know, like, shit, it's this week. And yeah, and it just came in the end, it, you know, comes around quick without you realizing. And then, and then it just got out there. So yeah, it was crazy how everything just fits into place, and, you know, and gets out there.
Right. And a lot of times, like, whenever movies take a while, sometimes, you know, it gets a lot of hype, and then you watch it and you're not as excited as you thought it would be, and it's a little tiny letdown. So it was like amazing to watch it, and it'd be like just so magnetic. You know, you can't take your eyes off the screen or anything. It was worth the wait.
Oh, cool. Well, that's good. That's good to know.
Yeah.
But I think I think the interesting thing about Fried Barry is, like, as I said before, it's one of those films. It's not made for everybody. You're either gonna get it or you're not. You're either gonna love it or you're gonna hate it. But no matter what, you're gonna speak about it and you're gonna talk about it. Whether it's like, I fucking hate this film, I don't get it, I don't understand it, or it's disgusting or whatever. But that the other thing is with Fried Barry, you know, the storyline's easy, and it's not about the story. It's about this journey and this experience that you go on with Barry as this drug trip. You know, it's meant to feel disjointed and weird. And yeah, you're going on this journey with Barry, or as Barry, and, you know, by the end of it, you know, you've been through a lot, you've seen a lot, and you just feel like taking a shower, because he's just like, oh, like, fuck, it's, you know, and that's why I always describe it as this like road movie without the car, but Barry's the car, and you're going on this journey with him the whole time. And it's almost like, you know, you get movies like Uncut Gems with Adam Sandler, and it's just like you're watching it, and, you know, you're going on this journey with that character, and it's just like somebody tapping you on the shoulder constantly, and you go, get off me. And you just, you know, it's this journey as it's going along. And with Barry, it's like that, you know, it's like that, how can I explain it? It's like, you know, it's like that car crash that you know, you'll see on the side of the road, and you know you shouldn't look, but you want to look, and you're still intrigued, and you still want to like take notice of it. And you know, there's some like grim scenes in Fried Barry, but it's not really put there for like shock value. It's more, again, it's just the experience. And I think it's one of those films that, you know, you can't take you can't take the film too seriously. You know, there is like serious elements and depth within the film, but I mean, the film is what it is, and it's a crazy nutty film, you know, because of characters like Eugene, and because of all these like weird, you know, things that's in the film. And yeah, we just had we just had a lot of fun, you know, making the movie. And I think, yeah, it's just a crazy, wacky movie. And that's why I think some people will watch it and they go, yeah, it's kind of hard to explain what this movie is. And I think that's the other thing. I think it's like when you make something different, you know, it's either people want to see a full on like narrative film, and I didn't want to make that full on narrative film. And that's why I said the story is about, you know, the story's easy. It's about an alien abducts this guy, gets back out and takes his body on a joyride. That's it. That's the story. We don't need to know more than that. That's the story. The rest is the journey and the crazy experience that, you know, I take the audience on, and it to be very unpredictable, that you don't know what's going to happen next. So you're either going to like that and get it, or you're not going to get it and you're going to complain that, you know, you're not getting that story. But that's why I said, if you do something different, then, you know, there's those people going to go, oh, I like it because it's different, or they're going to go, I don't like it because it's not a normal structured movie. But at the same time, if we just keep making the same shit all the time, then what's the point in making, you know, what's the point of that? You know, you got to make something different to stand out. And that's why I knew that this was, you know, the right one to make. Otherwise you just blending into everything else. And I always say, like, the amount of movies that we watch that we don't talk about, always switch off because it's not worthy of a conversation. And, you know, and that's the thing. Like, I want people to talk about it. I really do not mind if people don't like this movie. It's not made for everybody, you know. And that's why, you know, on a Sunday, sometimes if you've been out on the Saturday night and you just want to have a chilled Sunday, you don't want to watch Fry Barry on a Sunday. You want to watch like a comedy or an action film or whatever. It's something that you're not going to think about and you just want to chill. So you got to be it's got to be the right time and mood to watch certain movies. It's just like music. So, you know, Fry Barry is definitely a midnight movie to watch, you know, late at night, and you know, to be around friends and watch it. And I think that it's a more of a fun film for that, you know, for looking at it like that with an audience, you know.
And yet I rewatched this on a Sunday morning.
Really? I couldn't watch it I definitely couldn't watch it on a Sunday. No way. At night, yeah, but in the morning it's too early. Like, it's like way too early to watch Fry Barry. Like, you want to get up, you want to have your fried egg on toast and watch Fry Barry. Yeah.
Cup of coffee on your side too, so it's fine. Let's talk about your future projects. I saw that there's something coming out called #Mew2.
Meow2.
Meow2, thank you.
Yeah. So that's busy hitting festivals at the moment. So you guys, yeah, you must check that out. I don't know. It's still busy hitting festivals now, so it will come to the States, and it will probably be, I'm pretty sure, on one of the festivals online, so you can check it out. And also with the rest of the experimentals that I'm busy finishing now, like there's another experimental called Alien Dick, which is going to come out, which is going to come out soon.
That down.
Yeah, so that's pretty out there and funny. But I think if you like the style of Fry Barry and the wackiness or the craziness, or visually how these projects that I've been doing, like Fry Barry, then I think you dig the you know, these short experimentals, and they're all like under 5 minutes. So yeah, they're gonna start hitting film festivals, and then apart from that, finishing off a documentary that I can't say too much about, and then in August I'm probably going to shoot, the way it's going right now, I'm probably going to shoot my new film in August, so I also can't say too much about that, but yeah, it's going to be cool, so you must keep a lookout for that.
Congratulations.
Now, if you ever do shoot in the States, Cleveland, Ohio, Houston-ish, Texas, over there, feel free to drop on by. You're always welcome.
Oh, cool, thanks. So what time is it there with you guys now?
2:52 for me. I think 3:52 for Maire. I'll always have juice boxes, by the way, so, and chocolate milk.
I've got
Sounds
a booze
good.
fridge over there.
Sounds good.
She'll
All these
have-
bribes. I'm coming. Cool. And I see you guys got a nice VHS collection you got there, Heather.
Oh, thank you. There's a little bit more. I'm obsessed.
Oh yeah, a lot.
Yeah.
That's a bit blurry. I can't see, but I can see Cape Fear there. I watched that again the other night.
Really? It's De Niro in there, right?
Yeah.
Yes, he's so good in that movie. Well,
Yeah, really good. Cool.
One last question, and this, I swear this was not planned, if this is true. Is your birthday a week from this Friday?
No.
No, okay.
Who said this?
Okay.
Who said this?
There's somewhere online it said that your birthday was June 4th. And I, just random Googling to see what other information I could, bring to the table for today's interview. And I just wanted to see if that was true or not, because that's the day we're dropping this episode. So we try to drop every Friday, and I'm like, are we dropping this on his birthday? But it's not true, right?
Well, you can wait till September if you want, but it's a long way away.
September what?
The 2nd.
I'm the 5th. Virgo power.
Yeah.
I'm the
All
one
right.
with Cancer over here.
Wait,
June
so
30th.
wait, Cancer is coming up then, right?
June 30th.
There you go.
June 30th. Yeah, you see it's around the corner. So like I said before, Heather, that you might be looking forward to your birthday and it's going to feel like it's going to take forever to get there, but it is going to get there.
Knock on wood.
Hopefully your movie will be out on DVD soon so I can buy it for my birthday.
Yeah, so it will be on Blu-ray and DVD in the coming months. I don't know the exact dates yet, but it is going to be coming out, and yeah, it will have lots of cool extras and stuff like that on it, and commentary and deleted scenes, and yeah, so you guys must check that out and wait for that.
Definitely will.
Cool.
Amazing. All right. Well, I guess that's it. Heather, do you have any last minute questions?
No, just thank you once again for the opportunity. We really appreciate it. And, we love your work. So we're excited to see everything else you put out.
Okay, cool. Well, thank you so much, guys, for having me. It's been fun talking to you guys. And thanks so much for having me. It's been fun.
And where can people find you on social media? We know ryankruger.tv for your website.
Yeah, I think if you go on Facebook or Instagram, just type in Ryan Kruger or a Ryan Kruger thing, and it will pop up, or type in Fried Barry and it will pop up. And so if you haven't seen Fried Barry yet, check it out on Shudder. Let me know what you think. And yeah.
All right, perfect. Thank you so much. This was so much fun. Thanks for joining us.
Pleasure.
Well, that was a lot of fun.
That was really, really fun.
Well, if you guys haven't seen it, like you said, Fried Barry is now available on Shudder, and apparently there's a Blu-ray and DVD coming out for us to add to our collection. So I got to know what those special features are. They got to be quite interesting.
Can you imagine if there's a blooper reel?
God. Well, that's one of the things we didn't talk about, but I think a lot of people have talked about it on their interviews, is that there was just a little bit of a script written for this, for Gary Green's character, that Fried Barry, and everybody else is basically improvising the entire time. So a lot of Gary Green's acting was going off of their improvs, and because he had a childlike character, it was about him kind of mimicking what they were doing too. So there wasn't really a script to go off of, except for Gary Green, because I'm hoping I'm saying his name right. I'm pretty sure I am. Because he wasn't a trained, skilled actor. He was a bit part actor, and I think that Ryan uses him in a lot of his shorts too. But he was the main guy, but he didn't have a lot of dialogues. It was mostly about his facial expressions, which I think we can agree does a phenomenal job on. So
yeah, keeping that wide-eyed appearance, he's just observing, and then like you said, he repeats everything back. It's like I found myself watching him. I was keep his eyes like that, and then I was kind of wanted to try it, because I'm it's pretty intense, and I meant to say during the show, which is not important, but I just love the club scene so much, especially when the one guy comes up and he's dancing, and it really feels like he's there dancing. I wanted to know how long it took them to master that scene, or if it just like automatically happened, because it was so funny.
I love rewatching this on a Sunday because actually, when it was on Joe Bob, I missed the ending because I was so tired that day that I fell asleep before I could watch the ending, so I had to rewatch it. But rewatching it in the daylight, you pick up on a lot of things and you remember a lot more. But I love the club scene, the part where he's standing next to the guy and the guy's like, "Do you like oldies? Do you like newbies?" And it's like oldies and newbies, and he's doing this thing with his jaw back and forth that just drives me like. I do that because I grind my teeth at night.
Mhm.
I do that as a way to stretch my jaw so it doesn't click as much when I talk. And I'm looking at him doing it and I'm like, do I look like that? My stretches?
No, I'm sure if you had some stimulants in your system, it might could get to that point. But I I've never noticed you do anything that looks like that.
I try never to do that in front of people. Like I do it at night or in the morning. So my dad is usually home. And I'm like, I can't do it with him in the room. I don't want him to think I'm having a stroke. But that's exactly what it looks like with Barry, that he's having a stroke or something in this movie. Phenomenal from beginning to end. It is indescribable. It's don't expect to be like completely terrified, but it will entertain you. I will say that.
It's really great.
All right, Heather, that brings us to the end of our duo, Heather Loves Horror May Queens podcast. Do you have anything on the docket coming up?
I have some things to schedule. I just wanted to get like this week's my kid. I've got a 5th grade graduation and a kindergarten graduation, and then my 8th grader. Well, they'll all have awards. Oh my goodness! So just kind of getting through that, and I just wanted to make sure that we really got to do the interview today. So I, just wanted to be completely prepared and not overdone.
Well, this was quite a treat. Thank you for letting me be in on this. This is my first interview. I mean, I know, we go back and forth, we have a conversation here, but I've never really gotten to do an interview since like college because I studied radio and television broadcasting, and I remember interviewing some people for like college stuff, but never something like this in a field that I really care about, and movie making and horror movies and such. So hopefully we'll do more of these. And I know there are people on our Instagram account that we really like. He's a crafty one. We got to get him on the show. So that's like I think that's the next interview. We'll work on scheduling that because my VHS, I got a VCR working, and we have a special VHS that I still haven't watched yet. So I got to watch that, and we got to talk about it on the show.
Oh yeah, and you're welcome. I was glad to share it with you. I was like, what should I do? I'm like, most people would do it by themselves and just be like, thrilled to death to do it by themselves. But I'm like, I wanted someone to share it with, and it makes it more fun, I think, in my opinion. But I just want to share with my friends and people that I think deserve it. So,
and that way we each make sure everything's covered. Like you totally stepped in with the music question. Like I had it in the back of my head yesterday, and you totally brought it forth. So that was perfect. I really think people will watch this today or listen to it if you're listening to it and get a good idea of what Bride Barry is really about and how to feel when you watch it. Although now I need to rewatch it and look at every single reference that's supposed to be in this movie and see if I can find it. Because he says there's like over 80.
Yeah.
So, I'm glad I'm not the only one who thought Poltergeist was one of the references. But it wasn't, but I thought it was.
Yeah. He does kind of resemble that dude. The hat dude, alien.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can't remember the Reverend in Poltergeist.
Yes.
Played by 2 different guys in Poltergeist 2 and 3, because I guess the guy from 2 passed away from stomach cancer, and so they had to have a guy. That's one of the things we didn't talk about in the Cursed Films episode we did. They did for both The Crow, for Brandon Lee, and for, I can't remember the guy's name, Julian Beck, I think, was the guy who played the Reverend originally in Poltergeist 2. They did something called the death mask for the people that replaced them in the movies after they had died. And I guess what they do is they make a mask by casting the face of the dead person. and then they makeup it up and they make a mask of the person's face for the person who's playing them in the movies. Like who gets into movie making and expect that they're going to be working with real recently dead bodies? I hope they brought in a mortician or something to do the casting. I don't think I'd be able to do that if I were a Tom Savini or a Rick Baker or something. Like, you can make crazy gory effects, but you bring in a real dead body on my table, I'm not going to want to do that. So that's
good point.
Yeah. All right. For me, coming up, Terror Tuesdays is tomorrow. Somebody already, God, this is going to be coming out in more than a week now because we're ahead of schedule.
Oh yeah.
It's so funny that he's a Virgo. I'm like, kind of see a little bit of my personality in this guy, just a little bit. So now I know it's definitely a Virgo thing. Anyway, but for this week's Terror Tuesdays, this is the Terror Tuesdays week and a half before we drop this episode. I am doing a reaction to the 1934 movie The Black Cat, which is one of Bravo's 100 top scariest movie moments of all time movies. This is starring Bela Lugosi and Boris Karloff, and it's only an hour. The movie itself is only an hour, so it was really simple to get through. And probably the oldest movie I've ever watched for my Terror Tuesdays program. So I'm excited to get it out there. I'm dropping a new reel as of tonight that I filmed in between our getting together and then getting together again. So, just check out my YouTube channel. I'm doing a lot of new stuff on there. I'm posting the reactions that I post on IGTV, but I'm also doing all these shorts that are ending up on YouTube Shorts, TikTok, and my reels on Instagram. You can find me at Maire Graves, CLE, on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, everywhere. Maire Graves, Maire Graves, on YouTube. You can find the Heather Loves Horror podcast on YouTube at Heather Loves Horror. And Instagram, you can find her at Heather_loves_horror, and on Twitter at Heather Beck MYE1.
Yes.
1. Yes. I got it. And am I missing anything for where you can find us?
I don't think so.
Perfect. All right. Well, then we're going to call it the end of the episode. So thank you again, Heather. This was a great opportunity, and I will talk to you later.
All right. Have a great day.
Bye.
Bye, girl.